A couple of years ago, back in university, we had this huge event in the main lobby, which is called the Careers Fair. So you basically get a dozen companies send their representatives to advertise the companies. There was quite a few of healthy food startups, which is great. There was oil and gas companies, which is normal since we're in the north part of Scotland. And there was a policeman, and every student had the chance to go up to them and introduce themselves and maybe even land a job after they graduate in this economy. And at that time, I kind of wanted to be a paramedic because paramedics, if you think about it, are really cool. So naturally, I went to the policeman to just talk about it. And we had a very pleasant conversation, and it went something like this. Hi there, my name is Christian. I'm currently studying biomedical science, but I'm also kind of thinking about becoming a paramedic in the future. So do you maybe have some advice on what I should do to improve or gather some experience in the field that you guys are in? And what he said basically made me the man that I am today. And what he said was no. Which of course kinda made sense because he was a policeman. But after that careers fair, me and a couple of colleagues started thinking about going home after that long and unfruitful day, and one of them said that they are starving. So they all started suggesting places to eat. One said KFC, the other said McDonald's. And as a university student, as someone who's studying biomedical science, as someone who's reading daily about health, disease, Marco Pierre White, I turned in all seriousness to them and I said, "You guys can afford eating out?" Needless to say, I did not go out to eat with them, but I started thinking about how nobody really cares about the food that they're eating. How the foods and the drinks they're consuming affects them, affects their mood, affects their weight, affects their whole organism. Nobody really cares. And I didn't until I did. So here I was, baffled, trying to figure out what defines a healthy food or diet? Or a more accurate question would be, how do you define what's healthy for you? So we've got these two questions, right? And the more I tried to learn, the more people spoke about these exact same foods that we're all eating. And these foods are vegetables, fruits, meats, soups, seafood, nuts, bolts if you're into that kind of thing. But you get the point. All natural food is healthy. All food contains macro and micronutrients which we all need, and we get it, it's obvious. But the more you start getting into this healthy food community, the more you start getting people trying to fix all of their problems with one specific food, or even worse, influencers trying to advertise their specific food diet to fix all of people's problems, like vegans or carnivores. And I'm not a food expert here, but the more you get into these kinds of things, the more you see people's problems being unresolved, or worse, people's money being spent on specific diets or supplements they don't need. The micro and macronutrients are not the big picture here, which means you need to dive deeper. And the question is, deeper into what? I found this guy through a podcast called Dr. Tim Spector, and he's a very respected scientist. He's a very smart man. He's been publishing books and articles for the past 20 years. And it turns out that the food is not the issue here. And if the food is not the issue, then it has to be the organism that's eating the food. What do I mean by that? Well, the organism has 12 organ systems, and one of these organ systems is called the digestive system, which breaks down food. A part of that digestive system is the microbiome, which is completely unique to you, just as your genetic makeup. So the actual big picture becomes your digestive system, or more specifically, your microbiome. Well, this Dr. Tim Spector made a company called Zoe that can look into your gut microbiome and blood sugar and blood fat and translate this into a mobile app so that I can show you what you're made of. Obviously, this company is based in the UK because Dr. Tim Spector is British, but if you're from another country, you might need to check if there's something more local, like a gut health microbiome at-home kit company. I also want to mention that I currently do not have the kit, but I've always wanted to buy one. And the reason I haven't bought it yet is because I can't really afford, well, not the kit itself, but buying the variety of foods every day, even if I knew what variety of foods I needed. Food's really expensive nowadays. Maybe I should make my own garden or something. But it's important to ask yourself why. Why should I even bother thinking about what I should eat? Isn't that a waste of time? I mean, we have more important things to worry about here. And it kinda is a waste of time to think about what you should eat, to cook the food itself, but the positives outweigh the negatives. Most people eat 3 times a day. Some eat more, some eat less, but you do that every single day. I mean, you've most certainly had a McDonald's once in your life. Did your stomach hurt? Did your soul cry out from the depths of your... It's a habit. It's discipline. It's a long-term investment into the future, and you reap those benefits one day at a time. See, I come from Bulgaria, and in Bulgaria you have certain foods and drinks that people normally eat. And you have that in every single country. In Bulgaria you have natural yogurt and fresh herbs. In Japan you have exotic seafoods and sushi. And in the UK you have beans and toast. But you are born into that, and your microbiome forms around those kinds of foods ever since the first day that you start eating them, and the following days which you subsequently eat them. So when I came to this conclusion after reading and listening about this concept of food, I tried to go back to what I ate back then and there. And there's also one more thing that we also missed on talking about. The oils and sugars and fast foods and drinks, those are no-no, which of course most people know about and is common sense. If you haven't had the time to research seed oils, or bad oils for that matter, it's not the product that the oil is made from that's bad. It's the whole process of making the oil that's making it bad. You have many toxic chemicals that are added into the refining process, but I'm not going to go into that. But if you ask for my advice, I would say to go for butter, because you have the lowest chance of a refining process there. Or you can go with olive oil, which I believe is slightly worse, because I don't believe we have the olives in the world to sustain the production of olive oil we have right now, which makes it a little fishy, but what can you do? And in terms of sugar, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you take a normal fruit, you have up to 10 milligrams of sugar in there, and people found a way to extract that natural sugar and make it in massive amounts by refining it, which, it also includes toxic chemicals in the process that it's made from. So all in all, what I'm trying to do now is to cut on sugary foods as much as possible, which I'm very bad at. But look, I'm trying. Nobody's perfect, right? Except Marco Pierre White. But yeah, do you think you're strong enough to make a change? Do you think your busy lifestyle will allow it? Are you still watching this video? Let me know in the comments below or on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.